Hey, YouTubers and friends, how you doing out there? Me, myself, I'm great, but I'm tired. I just had a long week back in Washington State with the family, and looking forward to tonight's show because we have return guest Drew of Naughty Dog Treasures here on YouTube. Drew's a great guy along with his other half, Jocelyn Elizabeth. Great people. I can say that because I got to know Drew during FOSIC a couple years ago. So don't go away. We'll be right back with a really, really good show. All right, we're back. Thank you for sticking around and hanging out. Oh, I unmuted you guys. Unmute.
Unmute.
You unmuted me as I was chewing on an Oreo cookie. You wouldn't have liked
that. Oh, probably not, but hey.
I was supposed to have time to be able to chew an Oreo cookie by the time the show started, but no.
Dang
you
it,
unmuted
man.
me. Just as I put it in my mouth, started chewing, you unmuted me.
Oh, well.
Soak it in milk so it'll be smushy. You won't hear it then.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted one. I wasn't going to eat the whole pack yet. Later.
yeah.
Tonight. Get my milk and cookies out.
That's midnight.
Yeah, but right after Perry Mason and before Twilight Zone.
He's got it planned out.
Oh, yeah. Well, hi, guys. Hi, Ed. Welcome back.
Thanks.
I hope everything was okay for you.
Besides the rain, though, the day I got there to the day I left, it was excellent. Washington.
Isn't that normal there, though?
Well, this time of year, yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I did get up to a couple of spots. One spot I went to on DNR, I didn't have a discovery pass. So I didn't want to stray too far from my car and get a ticket or worst case scenario.
You didn't have a what?
A discovery pass for DNR land in Washington.
What is that? Just to be on it or to?
It's to park and to access our public land.
So you had to obtain permission to go on to our property.
Well, actually, it's the resident of Washington State's property.
Oh, yes. It's state property.
Yes.
Okay.
But they have that type of stuff for the U.S. Forest Service too, the National Forest.
Right. That kind of, it's kind of like when I went to Myrtle Beach. Ruby and I went to go to a park, just a regular park, city park type thing, right? Park area by the beach. We pull in there and they wanted $5 a piece, but plus $10 just to go into the park. I'm in Ohio. We just walk in our parks. We just get out of our cars and walk into the park and walk around. We don't.
Right. Just go enjoy the beauty.
Exactly. So I'm going, what? I got to pay to come sit on the beach? In a park, in a city park or state park. I think it was a state park.
Well,
But
that
still,
place, Douglas Falls. I shared a picture on Facebook.
yes, that was beautiful.
That's where this was. It's up on the Washougal River. There's gold and copper mines up there that date back to the 1800s. I found gold on the Washougal before. I wanted to do hit some bedrock and hopefully get some BG there, but I didn't. So I went to Weyerhaeuser Land, and there I didn't need a permit or nothing.
Yeah.
So I went to Weyerhaeuser Land to Canyon Creek, but it was raining, so I went through. I went to a spot before I found gold at before, and that's where you should have your boxes Thursday.
Cool.
No guarantee there's any gold in it, because most of my time was the drive there.
Yeah.
And I walked in.
Even out there, you got to drive long distance, right?
Well, it was I could have went to shorter places, closer, but this place was 55 minutes from my motel room, roughly, or from my mom's. So it was what it was. Nonetheless,
By some beautiful scenery, you got to take a ride.
I got to see my grandkids. I got to see my son and daughter, my oldest son and my only daughter. I got to see my niece I haven't seen forever, my late brother's daughter. I got to see my nephews. Unfortunately, my favorite nephew, yes, I'll say it, my favorite nephew, Casey, he's an excellent musician, just like my stepson, Brian. But he's gone out of producing music to, he's the creator of Veritas Guitars. They're a high-end handcrafted guitar made in the United States in Vancouver, Washington.
Cool.
And they're very, very, very good guitars. But let's say hello to our guests. I know Susan's out there and the Jersey history.
Oh, Mr. Plaster Chaser. He
was number one.
He's lurking now. He's lurking now. Seen him in a bit.
Digging with Deej. I see Christina and E is out there from New Jersey. Welcome to the channel and the Flash fam. Yes.
Hello, E-Bass. New person on the page, on the chat room.
Christina and E-Bass. And also, I know Erie Deary and Bobby DuPati, some friends of mine, are out there watching. And of course,
we mustn't forget the world's greatest moderator, Mr. Lodak.
Mr. Lodak, the world's
Susan,
awesome, greatest.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Jim from Video Calling Show.
I hear ya, rain or shine, need a flash in the pan.
Right.
I hear ya, Benzo.
Teddy C's in here.
We even go out in the cold, man.
Taz D Gold Prospecting is in the house.
Detroit prepping. Hello. Detroit representing. Luke Duke.
Hola, David Villa.
It ain't Pancho, it's David.
Let's see. Don G, good day.
And our friend Jim from Video Calling Show.
Who was that?
Yeah, I seen Jim was in here. He's in Brighton early.
Yeah. Benzo Bonanza, Mining and Prospecting. How's it going? Luke Duke.
He's doing a
Detroit
little work in. Hey, Brad from Tassie Adventures, Joe.
Joe Sassaconis, how you doing tonight?
Yes, I do really look up to both my sons. They're like 6'4", 6'5", and I'm 5'9". So yeah, I look up to my boys. That I do. Hey, thank you for the $2 super chat, Detroit Preppin'. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And I think we got everybody.
I think so. I'm not going to scroll back and look because it
No,
never lets me go.
Oh, Tassie Adventures is in the house.
Yeah, said hi, Brad.
I just saw him digging with Deej. I know she was there earlier.
I saw Taz D was in here too. Taz D Gold Prospecting.
Drew is stage left right now. We'll bring him in a minute. Did you want us to say hi to you guys too? What's Susan voting about?
I don't know.
That Jaron is the best moderator.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jaron says it's just a rumor. It's never been voted on.
Let's make it official. All in favor, raise your whatever hand.
Just say aye.
Do the wave. Yeah. Hashtag aye. Let's have eyes if Mr. Lodak's the world greatest moderator.
Flower how you going? And Robert, how are you tonight?
That's a no. That ain't an aye. Yeah, Joe, everyone, it's unanimous now. You're the best. You're the greatest.
The world's best.
Hands down.
Hands up.
Hands up. Thumbs up. Talk about thumbs up. 25 people watching. My thing shows 2 likes.
I see 4.
I see 11.
What's up? 25 watching. What's going on here?
I see 25 current views, 11 likes. I wonder why there isn't 25 likes. Come on.
I don't know. Did you like it?
I liked it.
I always like it. It's on my show. Of course I like it.
I liked it.
Yeah, but
I liked it too.
I'm not going to beg for it, but if they want to. And if you're going to thumbs down, please give me 2 thumbs down so that equals 1 like.
Right.
So, but you know how it is. You know how it is.
Hello, Troy Derusha.
Hi, Troy. How's that?
How's it going, Troy?
Welcome to the Flash Fam. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah.
Man, well, I was up for like 23 hours. I couldn't get no sleep no matter how much I tried on that red eye. And coming back home, I had to go to a different terminal and lost wages than when I went. But all in all, it was okay. Oh man. Daryl from Avis Corporate, if you're listening, thank you very much for all you tried on the phone. Why, whatever the F in her name was at PDX, Ashley, Cashley, Kishley, my Ashley, she was a real blankety blank, and Daryl at Corporate Avis was totally awesome. I told him about how there was a misunderstanding with my brother and I to take my mom up to my brother's because it's like a 4-5 hour round trip. So I called up Avis. They put me into a corporate thing where they'll find me a car for the situation, right? and he called PDX, and this one girl, oh, I've been here 3 years, and I'm well versed with company policy, and I'm the senior employee at this time. Well, this is Daryl, blah, blah, from corporate, and don't stop talking over me and let me finish. But, oh, geez. She was very unprofessional and rude. It was a three-way call. Just three-way call. And he apologized to all get up and go, but he had no worries in my book. Avis, give Daryl a raise. I'm sorry I forget your last name. The paper I wrote down everything on is still in my luggage and I haven't unpacked yet. But I see Drew's back. I saw him poke on a little.
He flashed on.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I saw him flash there for a second.
He's
I see the light
about now.
I just got home. Just got home. Literally, while you guys were doing 20 minutes of chatting, we drove home from the restaurant.
Nice.
Oh, very good. It worked out, huh?
Yeah, and they came out before you guys started. I could have actually had dinner tonight, but no.
Sorry, everybody. Give a big round of applause for Drew for missing dinner tonight for the show.
No, that's my fault. I totally dropped the ball and forgot.
He's making a sandwich now.
At least you didn't say, Ed, I got bail on you at the last minute.
Hey, Ed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that to you, Ed.
And Drew, let me interrupt you for a second. Troy is listening to the show and wants to get in the chat room. So let me explain to him. Troy, you need to be a YouTube member. So sign up on YouTube.
He's chatting in the chat, so he's already signed in.
Troy is?
I see him in the live chat.
Wrong Troy. Different Troy.
Oh, Troy Johnson.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, just if you don't have a YouTube channel, make one real quick. You don't have to put anything on it. Actually, when you sign up to Google, doesn't it automatically do that, Ed?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so you should, I don't know, see if you got a YouTube channel going. If you don't, get it going and you'll be able to chat.
Oh, no, Troy, it was me. I'm sorry. It's another Troy.
Yeah, he needs a Google account, not just a YouTube.
Right. I know most people have a Google account.
Yeah, if you have a Gmail email address, you have
Right.
you have a Google account.
Right.
Already, poof. Just have to sign into that account, and I believe Troy Johnson will be able to come right in.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron Shaw and John Wolf, how you doing? Colleen, how are you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just saying hi to some people.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to tell them over this way as opposed to trying to type it all down, text it to them, you know. So, there you go. You should be able. You said you should be able to get on and chat.
Yeah.
If you don't see the chat room, look. You'll see a little box that says "Show Chat." Hit that. And then go to the live chat.
Hey, Jason, Flower Gold Wizards and Erie Deary, how you doing?
Shaw's Prospector, how you doing tonight?
Carry on. Thank you, David.
David, is that David the producer?
No, that's David. Yeah.
I know. He's producing the show now.
Well, we're almost 30 minutes in. Let's pull in our buddy Drew,
All right.
our good pal.
Man, I was actually sitting here enjoying my cold fettuccine Alfredo that Dustin had left over.
Oh, well, we can take a little longer if you want to eat, Drew.
We're good, man. No, we're good.
I've
Oh.
seen people eat. I mean, you know, I sit across from my wife and we eat, you know, and like, in a restaurant, I watch people eat all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
There he
there's
is.
Troy Johnson.
Troy, welcome, Troy.
There we
You
go.
found it. Hey, Mike
Yep.
Kiefer with the Aqualand Relics.
Right. Gibby's treasure. Hello.
Excellent.
Taking a break.
Welcome. Don't forget to say hi to Erie. I have Robert twice. Twice.
Do it again, Ed.
Hi, Erie Dairy Honey. How are you? Why weren't you at Gold Rush Days? I saw Bobby. I saw Heather. But I didn't see you, young lady. So, Drew, what's new on the board since the last time we've had you on? Been a while, 2 years since Fossick, who are camp neighbors. He's muted.
He's muted.
He's
Did you
muted.
unmute?
Unmute him.
There we go. Is that better?
There we go.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Actually, you know
actually
what?
much better. We can hear you now.
Actually, you know what? It's good timing because I live literally right in front of a railroad crossing. So right when I was talking is right when the train was going by blowing its horn.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Norfolk Southern. But no, I was just saying that I've been busy. I've been we've got a lot of stuff going on here. We've been going nuts with this whole crazy lamp lady thing.
Oh, I've seen
A video every
Goslin's
day, that's
channel has been blowing up. Isn't Crazy Lamp Lady have more subscribers than Relic Recoverist now? Also, just blowing up.
It took her roughly 3 months to do what Relic Recoverist took 3 years to build.
Wow. And of course, I noticed she has hate there too, so she's doing it right.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Listen, there's plenty of reasons for birth control in this world, and I get to talk to her once in a while.
Right.
I know. That's just crazy.
Yeah, no, but it's exciting because we still do all the metal detecting stuff, but now we've got something else added in. All it is like another type of treasure hunting. I mean, we're out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I mean,
yeah, those days you can't go metal detecting, you could always go lamb hunting.
I got 30 packages sitting right here, right behind me that I just did this afternoon that have to go out tomorrow morning. You know, so I mean, I'm keeping busy. It's nuts. But we went up to pound the ground, and that was fun. And then after I got done at pound the ground, I drove home Monday, unpacked, did laundry, repacked, and then I had to leave for Brooklyn, New York on Tuesday morning at like 4 a.m.
Wow.
For another project that I'm working on. I can't go into a whole lot of detail about that, but I can say that there was some filming involved for a major network, and we'll know more in a few weeks when I get the call from the producer to let me know what the status is.
So is that something that might be for like next fall or something?
They're talking if the project does go all the way through, which it looks like it's going to as of right now. They're talking about starting to film in January, and yeah, you'll probably see season 1 in the fall.
Right.
Season 1 is going to be based in the U.S. and season 2, if it goes for season 2, is going to go international. So
cool.
I'm pretty excited about it. because the process with this it was done a little different. Generally, you have a producer that has an idea. He goes out and he finds a cast. He films a teaser, and then he goes and pitches it to a bunch of networks.
Right.
Well, he had an idea. He went to one of the major networks or had it in a conversation, and they said, "Wow, we really like that. Here's a bunch of money. Make it happen." So,
and we need to do that. Have somebody throw us a bunch of money.
So yeah, I mean, I can't discuss the. I mean, I'm under a non-disclosure agreement,
Right.
so I can't discuss the premise of it. I can't say who I'm working with. I can't.
Right.
Say,
we've been around enough of you movie stars to know about that.
but yeah, no, the experience overall was really awesome. I got into a site that was probably one of the most disgusting places I've ever been in my entire life, and I used to clean sewers for a living. So if that says anything, did find some history, did find some treasure, which was cool. So now what we did, the project we worked on, that the 2 days we were filming, that is not for public consumption, so the public will never see that footage.
Right.
Did you find some wood?
What's that?
Did you find some wood?
Yeah. We found some wood and some coconut hairs. And,
nice.
and we're going to bring in an English guy that's never found an English penny before.
That should be a good show. It should go on for.
And then before we do anything else, though, I'm going to go out in front of my house and I'm going to grab a bunch of railroad spikes and call them ship spikes.
There you go.
What you guys got to understand, and this is something that I'm not knocking any of the guys on Oak Island at all, because you know what, they have a passion for this, man. This is their
right.
passion.
That's their dream. That's their passion.
It is.
And actually, they're premiering tonight, aren't they, for this season? Isn't that on tonight?
I don't know.
I think it's on tonight. I think it premieres this season tonight.
That means Bob won't be by.
But there's been
I wouldn't know.
There's been other metal detecting shows out there, and they've gotten kind of a bad. They've given. Okay, there's a couple ways of looking at it. Metal detecting shows can either feel like they give you a bad rep for the hobby, or you can feel like they're too totally hokey. One of the reasons I agreed to sign on to this particular project is because it's not a what's it worth project. It's more factual and historical based. The production company that I'm working with, they've done lots of documentary style stuff for the BBC. So, I mean, this is a top notch production that they're looking to put on. It's also going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
Because there is, and I can't say who, but there is somebody on the docket, on the cast list, that everybody in the treasure hunting community knows. So I can't divulge any of that information, but it's worth keeping an eye open for. And I'm sure once I find out information and I get the okay to put something out, I'm sure I'll be putting something out going, hey, check out.
You'll be coming back here, right?
Yeah, it'd be coming back here and letting us know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you could just barge right in.
Seriously, I'd still love to. I'm sorry, Jesse. I was saying I still would love to have Jocelyn on as the crazy lamp lady, not Relic Recoverist, crazy lamp lady. But I know she's busy. I know she's busy.
I can hear her one flight of stairs down right now, getting the kids ready for bed too.
I'm sure.
Well, this show's all about you tonight, my friend, and your channel growth. Your channel's great. I love the namesake find of your channel, that squatting, pooping, naughty dog.
Hey, one of your big fans is in here, Swansea Searcher.
Oh yeah, he's also a GPS member.
Oh, that's Swansea. Oh,
He's been around for years.
yeah, okay.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
But yes, I mean this project is interesting. I really wish I could tell you what the premise of it was, because you guys would be like, wow, that's freaking awesome.
Okay, now
Yeah,
nod
because I
your
got a lot of questions, but I
nod your
know I-
head. Is it anything like Bo's River Hunter?
I don't know. I can't give you an honest answer.
No worries. We totally understand your.
And the only reason is because I haven't watched those River Hunters yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh.
No, and he'd be pretty mad at me.
Yeah,
we won't tell him.
As well, you know, him and Jocelyn see Bo quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he only lives like maybe an hour and a half from us tops, and him and his wife came up for 4th of July. They were at our house for our 4th of July party, which was great. I'll tell you what, he is probably one of the most down to earth, nicest people you'll ever get a chance to talk to if you ever meet him in person.
I'd like
very
to
knowledgeable.
someday.
He's very willing to share. Just a absolute superhuman being.
I've heard that from you and Jocelyn. I've heard it from Gypsy, from Michelle, you know, and several others. I'd personally live with
him?
Who?
Chrissy? Yeah.
Yes.
You're talking.
He stayed 3 days at Outdoorsy Gallows Chrissy's up in Ontario when he was at that hunt. And, she spoke very highly of Bo. Drew, I would love to just, you know, I already want to come out there and hit that button dump with you and stuff. And we need to make something happen. I would love to go spelunking with Bo, though. That's his videos I watch. I like watching the most is his caving stuff.
The last time I did that, I almost died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm too old and fat to be crawling through little holes anymore, so.
Well, that really wasn't the problem. We got into a cave in West Virginia that they had thought had been previously unmapped and undiscovered, because it wasn't shown on any of the caving maps for the area that you know, it wasn't marked on any of the maps.
Right.
So we went down into the cave. Now, mind you, I have asthma, and generally it doesn't bother me unless there's like a major change in humidity or my allergies are really getting to me. But generally it's only a few times a year I have real bad asthma problems. Now we were out. Oh God, it was 90 plus degrees out when we were out, so it was real hot. We parked about a half a mile from the cave location, and we were all geared up and we're going down into the cave, and we got in, and it's really nice. It's like 50 some degrees in there. It's really cool and no humidity, and it's real easy. The only bad thing you gotta watch out for is all the animal scat that you gotta kind of crawl through to get down in there. And
right.
Well, that's kind of dangerous, isn't it?
It's very dangerous because the bacteria and the things that you can catch from raccoon feces, bat feces, things like that, it's bad stuff. So you don't want to go in there, touch things, and then touch your face or touch your mouth or anything like that.
Well, doesn't the ammonia and that stuff from the feces also remove the air out of there? Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit. But it's so we get in and we literally had to crawl down into the first chamber, essentially, or the opening to the first chamber, and then we had to drop one of those aluminum fire escape ladders down,
Mm-hmm.
and climb down into this big room that was, man, the ceiling was probably 25 foot tall. Massive room in this cave, and it looked like there was claw marks on the walls, like something had got in there and tried to claw its way out, and couldn't get out. I don't know if it ever got out. But the further back into the cave we went, the more mud had filled in the next back room. So like you had some room to work, but really, honestly, like it was a pretty tight squeeze to go further back.
Well,
And
this might answer one of the questions we had from Bob Dipp
Right.
about your scariest time out. Would this be it?
Yeah, probably. It would either be this or the time that I was out fossil hunting and I had the creek bank cave in on me, and the water going over my face. That was pretty scary. But yeah, this was bad because I was fine the entire time in the cave, and coming out of the cave, I was okay until I had to do that final little climb and squeeze out where I started having a lot of trouble because the humidity. I was starting to get into that climate change, and the humidity was really messing with my lungs. So when I got out of the cave, that instant change, it set on a really nasty asthma attack, and I didn't have my inhaler with me. It was in the car. So Joss literally had to sprint back to the car because, I don't know, for people that don't have asthma, the best way for me to describe it is you're drowning. You're literally drowning every time you take a breath.
You can't catch your breath.
Can't catch your breath. So
Yeah.
fortunately, like I've had it long enough that I know when I'm getting a real bad asthma attack, I don't panic. I just kind of take my time and I try to pace my breathing. So I'm
Right,
still
and that's
breathing.
probably the worst. That's probably the worst thing you can do is panic at that time.
Absolutely.
Panic
yeah.
kills.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Really in any situation where
Right.
you got to
Panic.
figure out a quick solution, you don't want to panic. And that's
Right.
that's human instinct. It's really hard to not panic.
Sometimes you actually need someone telling you relax, slow
Calm
down your
down.
breathing. Help you think through that stuff that you got to do.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, but she literally sprinted back to the car and grabbed my inhaler out of the car door. And generally, I have it with me. Like it's not something I don't leave. It's not something I leave in the car. I just happened to. I was pretty excited about it, and I just forgot to grab it out of the door of the car. And then she drove the car back through one of the fields and up to the edge of the woods where we had gone into the woods, and then she the rest of the way back, and yeah, that was pretty scary because standing there for a good 10-15 minutes having a real bad asthma attack and you can't breathe, that's scary.
Right.
Man, yeah, man, that's way serious.
That'd be really scary.
Scary one.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't think I really want to do any more caves after that.
Yeah. Susan Hamilton wants to know if that's the one Aquajigger did a video of.
I don't like confined spaces to begin with.
Yeah. Did Aquajigger do a video of that when that was going on?
Yeah, actually, him and Joss both did videos on that.
Okay.
I saw that cave then. Okay,
Yeah,
well, when we go out there and you introduce me to Bo, and I talked to him about going in a cave with him, you have your get out of cave free card.
Yeah, I don't think I really want to do any more caves. No, I probably would. I'd just make sure I have my stuff with me next time. But it was cool because when we got into that farther back section, we were looking at some of the dates that people had carved in the ceiling of the cave, and it was, one of the earliest dates was like 1760 something.
Oh wow!
So I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. 1800s. That would be really cool.
1700s.
1700.
Wow.
1700s dates carved in that cave.
That's even cooler. For some reason I thought I heard 18.
Hi, Michael, busy bee detecting.
Now, what detector are you swinging the most now?
Well, I mean, I like two brands. I use two brands religiously. I either use my AT Pro or my other go-to machine is my E-Track. But I own several machines. I've tried several machines. I don't know. I'm very happy with what I've got. I've got an Equinox 800. I use that every once in a while. I do like that for certain situations. Again, it's like a mechanic, having the right tool for the right job. You have the right detector for the right site. You get down into Virginia, you can't use VLF in the red soil down there. You won't get any depth in the ground at all.
Right.
And everything sounds like iron. Even the lead sounds like iron. So just really, you need to know what kind of ground you're hunting before you go out and buy a machine, because not every machine is going to work in every single situation that you put it in.
And there it goes back to what Jesse always says: learn your machine, learn your tool, know your tool for what you're gonna do.
That's right.
And I'll just kind of behave and I'll leave the innuendos out because I know this is a family program.
Well, we try to, but it's, it is live entertainment after all. So.
And the later it gets, the worse it gets.
It can go south at the flip of the switch.
Yeah.
But I was at this past weekend. Now I don't do a whole lot of seeded hunts. It's really not my thing to go out and like shoot fish in a barrel.
Right.
However, the seeded hunts are good for a couple reasons, and I always say this: it's good for networking, it's good for meeting people that you don't normally get to talk to in person, and it's good to give you a chance to help you learn your machine a little bit.
Right.
When you're in a hunt field and you know for a fact that there are silver dimes in that hunt field, you know what to look for, you know what to listen for on your machine next time.
Right.
So,
you get that practice you need.
Yeah, it does. It gives you a lot of practice. It kind of helps you speed up your process a little bit, because in these seeded hunts, you want to recover as many targets as possible.
Right.
When I went to Joe's hunt last year for digging South Jersey, I think my total target count that I dug was like 342 targets in one day. That's 3 hunts.
Wow.
That's a lot of holes. That's a lot of targets.
Yeah.
And this year, I think my target count was down because I was having a rough weekend. I've been exhausted. I'm beat, man. I'm tired.
That's definitely a lot of swing in there. I got a couple questions for you here from the chat room.
Yeah, go for it.
First one, Michael, busy bee detecting. Drew, how can you tell if a die for a coin is a real thing or a fake?
A die for a coin. Generally, the dies for the coins are not released to the public. However, there are instances where the mint has sold dies. There was with the state quarter program, they actually took a lot of the old dies, and the first ones, all they did was put a big X across them. Well, then later on, they were like, no, we can't do that, because then people can actually figure out a way to recreate and use this die. So what they did was they actually ground off the design off of the die itself. So you can't even tell which quarter it struck. You just know that it's a die that the mint used in a box with a certificate. So yes, there are dies out there. I had another instance where I became friendly with a guy named Ken Koppel, who is the chief coiner out at the Nevada State Museum, which is located in the old Carson City Mint facility. And they did some excavations outside the mint, and they found the old blacksmith shop area where they were discarding the dies. So I've actually got to handle some of the dies that were used at Carson City.
Oh, cool.
And canceled and tossed away. But generally, for the most part, it's not something that is released to the public. If you have a die and it's not canceled, you probably shouldn't have it, because that is something that can potentially be used for counterfeiting coins.
Yeah, it's like, I imagine they wouldn't sell paper money plates either.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
So yeah, that sounds like if you have one and it's real, you probably should leave it alone.
If you have one and it's real and it doesn't have a big X across the face of it where the design is, it's not canceled. Whatever you do, don't try to sell it, because you'll wind up in prison. If U.S. Treasury will come for that. Don't publicly announce that you have something like that, if that's what you indeed have, something that can produce United States coinage here in the U.S. Now, if it's a die from a foreign mint, I don't know what kind of rules and regulations we would have here on something like that. But we are very, very protective of our money and our money-making process here in America.
Yeah, I would think that even one that was a fake one would be just as bad to have.
It all depends on what you're trying to do with that. If you are intending to counterfeit coinage or money, or if you are intending to pass that off to somebody that that is
plans
going to somebody that plans to. Now, we find counterfeit coins. There's nothing wrong with having counterfeit coins that we've found. Don't try to pass them off as the real deal. That's when you start to get in trouble. Owning the stuff really isn't illegal. It's how you get it or how you relieve yourself of it. Yeah.
Right.
That's where you have to watch. That's where you really have to watch the legal ramifications.
Okay. We have another question from another viewer and friend of ours, Digging with Deej. You might have met her up at Pound the Ground.
Sure did.
She wants to know how you and Jocelyn met.
Mary Schaefer. Yeah, actually, Joss was supposed to work for me. She was going to do
at your coin store.
No, she was going to do some the online stuff for me, the eBay listings and everything.
Okay.
And yeah, it just, I don't know. It was like one of those things. Like we talked on the phone for the first time for like 2 hours, and she's not a phone person, so that was like a good sign. And then the first time we met and hung out, it was for me, I was like, yeah, I like this. But it was most, like we really didn't do anything for, I mean, it was a couple months before we actually came to the agreement that it was like, okay, this isn't like you working for me or me working for you. This is something else. And I was okay with that, and I'm obviously 2 years, more than 2 years later, here we are. Got a house, got a business, got an explosion in another YouTube channel. I mean, it's good. Everything's good.
The crazy lamp lady's just going off the rocker. And Jocelyn's being a real busy bee with both the channels.
Right.
I know it. I thought I read somewhere in one of the YouTube creators groups where she's putting out a video a day for Crazy Lamp Lady.
Sometimes 2.
That's crazy.
Michael Busy Bee Detective has a follow-up question to his die question.
Okay.
What about one from the 1600s?
That's different. 1600s U.S. Mint was not creating dies because there was no U.S. Mint. So you don't have to worry too much about that. How can you tell it's real? Wow. Well, part of it is you have to research the minting process that was used in the 1600s. They used a hammer die and an anvil die, and they would do everything by hand.
So it'd be like hammies.
Yeah. I mean, that's an item that really you can't send pictures to somebody. You have to find somebody that would specialize in that. Now, for a 1600s coin die, I would recommend somebody that handles foreign coins or ancient coins or something that's that specific. Because that's a very, very specific type of item.
That sounds like something you would probably have to, if you were really interested, do the research yourself.
You have to do the research, but one of the things you can always do is you can always reach out to a very well-known auction house. And when it comes to numismatic stuff, you've got Heritage Auctions, you've got Stacks and Bowers, you've got great collections. There's all kinds of companies out there. Those are the three that pop up off the top of my head that I normally look at.
Mm-hmm.
But they're the major coin auctions. They have specialists that look at stuff like that. And if they don't have one on staff, they know where to go find that person. If you have any interest in selling that item, you may contact an auction house and say, hey, I've got this XYZ, send a bunch of pictures, and they will respond to you and let you know if it's something that they can help you with. They may pass you off on somebody else that might be able to help you. That's not an item that your average everyday coin dealer sees.
Right.
So it's not something that they're going to have an extensive amount of knowledge on right then and there in front of you. You're going to have to. They would have to research it the same as you would.
So he's saying that the Spanish real is the die coin.
That's very possible. That's absolutely very possible that he's got a die that old. You have to look at what it's made out of. You have to look at the quality.
I was just going to ask you what would a die like that be made out of? What would they make them out of then? Well,
at that point in time, they didn't have steel. They didn't have hardened steel. I would assume that the dies would have been iron. They would have been punching into copper, silver, and gold, which is all soft metals.
Right.
So they would need something a little harder on the Mohs scale. So iron is going to be a little bit heavier to punch into that gold, that silver, that copper. Does the die show any signs of wear? Because those things they would wear down pretty quick, and they would have to use a new one. So they would toss the old ones. It's hard to say. I mean, it's not something I have seen personally, something that old. Modern dies, yeah, the modern dies, they're made out of hardened steel. So I mean,
right.
It's totally different way product.
Okay,
and
Michael.
Method.
Michael said, "Thank you. I'll text you with what I know and what and who to go to."
Yeah, you can shoot me some pictures if you want, and if I can forward those along to some people, I will try to do that. If it's something that I can look at and go, "Oh my God, absolutely no way," I'll try to do that for you. And then I can give you the information on who to contact and where to go with it.
Okay. Off to another question, another one by our friend Deej. She would like to know, what's your favorite find and what is your white whale?
Oh man. favorite find is tough.
Well, you have quite the treasure trove. I've seen some of it.
I'm just gonna have to go with this and say my favorite find is my girlfriend. You know, that gets me out of a lot of trouble.
She must be in the room.
She must be right out of the camera. Hi, Jocelyn.
Ready to swing.
No, man. I honestly, man, that is a really tough decision. I would have to say probably my most exciting find, besides the pooping dog, is my USA button.
USA button?
Yeah, my
military button?
Yeah, my Continental Army pewter.
Oh, nice. Continental Army. Nice old military button.
My white whale. I've got a couple white whales, but probably the two that I've everybody gets excited about. They're like the two is like a silver dollar and a gold coin. But I don't, you know, like if I ever find a gold coin, I'll be okay with that. Like I'll be excited, but you know what I hunt for, I'm a coin dealer, but I don't really go out of my way to look for coins when I go metal detecting.
You like relics better?
Yeah. And out of the relics, I like buttons the most.
Well, when you go to that little button patch of yours, you always seem so excited when I think in that video you mentioned like hunting buttons is one of your favorites.
Yeah. I mean, they're personal. They were on somebody's clothing. They traveled around the country. They traveled around the world. Like, I mean, what places have those buttons been? What have they seen? What conversations have they listened to? You know?
Right.
Could you imagine, like, if you had, just say you had General Washington's uniform that he wore while he was camped in Valley Forge, all the conversations that those buttons on that uniform heard, if they could talk to you and tell you, like, that's pretty cool to think about. That's my favorite. I love buttons. I don't know.
And then there is a large variety of them too.
There is. I mean,
I've noticed that.
You have the large variety with coins. You have a large variety with Civil War bullets.
Well, that's one thing I like about trade tokens and stuff, and hard time tokens and stuff compared to actual like U.S. coinage.
Yeah.
I really get into trade tokens quite a bit and Civil War tokens, but hard knocks tokens, trade tokens.
Good fours.
Yeah. A lot of the same reason, a little different history to it, more story to it than stamped out in a U.S. Mint in Dahlonega or Philadelphia or Denver or wherever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Bob Zip wants to know what's the better buttons that you found, metal or bound or bone?
Oh, I've gotten a bunch of bone buttons, but they're generally plain. So I mean, my favorite's going to be metal.
They didn't do much scrimshaw on the buttons, then, not the bone buttons.
I've never. Well, I mean, when you go metal detecting, it's not something the machine picks up.
Well, that's a fact, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, but here's the thing: is when I get into my button dump, there's always glass buttons in there. There's always bone buttons.
True.
But I've never, like, out of that particular button dump, I don't think I've ever pulled any kind of hard buttons out of there. They've all been like machine manufactured and made, so I don't.
So your button dump, is that like used to be behind an old factory or something?
It's actually there's a pulp mill that's not too far from it, and there was a man. How can I say this without giving out the location? There was a school for kids that had a particular type of disability, and they would actually have the kids during some of their downtime sit there and strip the metal and the buttons and the clips and the clasps off of the cloth and send it down to the pulp mill, and then they would take all the buttons and that stuff and dump it out back.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
So I can't get too much more specific.
Yeah, I got more questions.
That's
but
understandable.
It's them because they'll probably give locations, so I'll just
Leave
it at that.
It's funny because we have this etiquette within the hobby, within medical detecting, even within gold prospecting, where you generally don't go to your buddy's friend and say, "Hey, I really like your buddy's button dump. Where's that at? Can I go there?"
Oh yeah,
Right.
no.
Take me.
I've got a guy in my club. I'm not going to mention any names, but he's in. I believe he belongs to actually both the clubs I belong to, but he comes to one more often than the other. And he asked my club president, who I'm a good friend with, if he knew where my button dump was and if he could tell him where it was, because he wanted to go check it out. And then he asked the other club president where my button dump was. Now I know who the guy is, and I know, I'm going to bust his stone. I'm really going to bust his stone now. I let it go. I let the first one go because I knew about that for about the last year and a half. And then I just found out yesterday or today or whatever that he was asking somebody else about it. You don't do that.
That's as bad as claim jumping.
Right.
You want to go to my button dump? I'll take you to my button dump. I have no problem with that. But don't try to go behind my back and try to snipe in on one of my spots like that, because I'm not cool with that.
That ain't cool at all. That's a lot like what's his face with Patrick's No Tell 'em Creek.
Well, it's like us when we used to show the gold. Everybody burned your spot up, so we quit showing it.
Here's the deal. I can only dig so many Pennsylvania State SEAL staff officer buttons and be happy. Okay, the last time I went, I dug like 100 of them. There's plenty there. I've got no problem sharing. I've given a bunch of those away to kids, to people. Like, there's plenty of it there. So I mean, it's not a site that is a one-time hit and it's done. So I don't mind sharing it.
But those,
don't go behind my back like that. That's really shady and wrong.
Hey, let me say hello to
You're right.
Dirt Diggers UK. How are you tonight?
Oh,
And
hey,
Laurel
Clodhopper
is
Scott.
Clodhopper Scott, what's up?
Yeah, that's.
And then Gold Pro Unlimited's in the house too.
And Liz from the Digging Connects in here.
Oh, I missed her.
We have another question, kind of like from our friend Deej again. What do you feel is the most important thing all detectorists can do to preserve? I'll change a word here because I don't look at it as a mere hobby, a lifestyle. Our lifestyle activity for generations to come.
Well, you got to remember, these old sites are not going to replenish themselves. Once you've hunted that site and you've pulled those artifacts, those relics, those coins out of that site, you're done. They're not there anymore. I mean, really to preserve. See, that's tough because people lose things. People are always going to lose things. It's our tendency. It's human nature. We pull our hands out of our pockets. Things fall out of our pockets. We go swimming. We lose jewelry. it's going to keep, things are going to keep replenishing, but it's going to take them years to be old again.
Right. And then like
exciting for the next generation to find memorial pennies over wheat pennies, where, you know, so
well, coins in the future are going to be kind of hard to find, aren't they? Because the quality of the coin isn't there anymore.
Oh, well, absolutely. Like our pennies here in the United States, they're copper plated zinc.
Right.
After about a year in the ground, they look like they've been chewed up by a squirrel.
Yeah, they look like I know.
Yeah, they disintegrate and fall apart. But here's what I think is more important. Instead of worrying about preserving the sites for the future generations, because again, they're always going to have things to find, and there's always going to be sites that have been overlooked. There's places that people can't get into right now that maybe 5 years down the road you can. But the important thing is the stewardship of the ethics of the hobby, of the camaraderie of the hobby, what the hobby is really intended for, rather than trying to get rich quick. Because really, if you're trying to get rich quick, you're in the wrong hobby.
Well, that's like gold prospecting.
Right.
If you want to get rich quick, you're in the wrong lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I
mean, really, it's more the preservation of the lifestyle, the hobby. Everything is just getting some youth involved, teaching.
Right, I was going to say I think the best thing that we can do to preserve and continue growing and continue this hobby or lifestyle or activity is to teach the young generations, the younger kids, and that should be part of our jobs too, is to teach the young folk, you know. That's how I feel about it,
yeah,
you know, because you're right. The stuff that you're finding now is cool now because it's old, you know, and once you find it, it's gone. And the youth of today, when they get to the point where this is an activity they really enjoy doing it as an adult and get out and do it, they're gonna be finding the new old stuff, or even the new stuff that people have lost, like you said, rings, bracelets, you know, jewelry stuff, you know. And yeah, we're always losing money, so
money
you gotta catch right away.
I have to agree with Drew's etiquette statement. You know, if we put out, if our etiquette stays on a positive, and our mannerisms and how we approach the general public in any finger of our lifestyle, detectoring, rock hounding, fossil hunting,
right,
thrift stores, or prospecting, you know, the way we treat people and are ambassadors of our lifestyles will help preserve it, and that will still, the better we are as a whole community, it will keep ground available. It will keep places to hunt, you know, all open to us.
I mean, and not only that, I mean, you have to remember too, like, okay, there's a lot of drama in the hobby. There's a lot of I'm better than you. There's a lot of I want to be famous, and so I'm going to do stupid crap to like make myself look really good.
right.
And then when it doesn't work out, well, oh well, who cares? But if people were less worried about the fines and more worried about old friends, you're outside, you're outdoors, you're getting so much more out of it than just a little coin that you just found. You know, it's not just that little coin you just pulled out of the ground is what it's all about. It's about so much more. And I think people lose sight of that, and they lose track of that, and they let it get to their head, and they think they're a legend, or they think that if they have 150 people listening to their podcast, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, it's got to stop at some point. Like, really, what are we going to do but make ourselves look like fools and ruin it for everybody else
Right.
that wants to do it the right way?
Right.
I'd rather be mediocre, famous like I am, hardly at all, and be a good light on all of our communities and broaden our community than be a jerk. And
You had asked me a question. You had asked me a question, Ed, before we even started the show.
yeah,
You asked me if a particular manufacturer was sponsoring me now.
right,
Absolutely not. I don't want a manufacturer to sponsor me. I don't want to be tied to one brand.
right,
I like using multiple products because there are multiple products out there that are good. They do different things for different sites, and I like being able to use a lot of different things. I don't want to be. Am I going to represent the brands that I use? Absolutely. Do I get things from the brands that I use? Yes, I do. But I truly believe in what I use, and I won't pick one or the other. I will use what works for me. I'll be real about it. I don't need a company to pay me to tell me what to do, where I can and what I can. I don't want
right. Well, definitely not tie you to a contract where you're gagged,
Yeah.
so to speak. Well, that's kind of like Jesse and I. We've told people, yeah, we'll use it and yeah, we'll take it free, but we are not brand loyal.
Right.
We are recovery loyal.
Yeah.
We, you know,
You know,
what
even I mean, people think that like we push dream match for gold prospecting, right? We push a lot. I push it because I like the product. People think that I'm loyal to that product, and I am up to this point. Nothing's better has come out yet, but as soon as it does, I'll probably use that too.
yeah, because
I
we'll
mean, you know,
definitely try it.
we'll definitely try it. You know, we're not gonna say no. We're not gonna try something that's new and different from what we already use. We're definitely gonna try it. If it's good, we'll use it. If it's not good, it'll sit on the shelf. We'll let people know it's sitting on the shelf.
I don't know.
You know,
Maybe I'm too picky, or maybe I'm just too familiar with what I've already got. But I don't get overexcited about new machines anymore. You know, because the technology. You got to remember, some of these machines that they're putting out, they've been designing that stuff for maybe 5 years, 7 years. They've been working on it.
right?
So the technology actually is new to you,
But
but it's
not
really not
you,
new technology.
right? Right. It's
So,
not new technology. It's just new to you and new to your use.
and new to the public. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I mean,
So I
so
mean, listen, uh, these companies are putting out all these new machines, and they're trying to kill each other um, by doing this and dumping a bunch of stuff on the market all at once. I mean, that's never a good thing when you flood the market with stuff.
it's like when they flooded the market with baseball and football cards in the 70s. None
Yeah.
of those cards are worth anything, you know, nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you've got a machine that works that people really like, why don't you find some things to improve on that machine and give it an upgrade so it can do a little bit more than what it's already doing?
Right. There's always everything. There's always room for improvement on stuff. You
Yeah.
know, even when you think you've got it down to, you know, to perfect, there's still room for more. Digging with Deej has got another question for you.
Shoot.
Do you donate any finds to museums? If you do, how do you approach a museum and or historical society?
Really, that's personal preference if you want to do something like that. Me personally, when I was younger, I volunteered in a museum in Philly, and I worked in their paleo prep lab, putting dinosaur bones back together.
Ooh,
That's
but that was fun.
cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Um, Being there, I saw some things that I didn't particularly care for. Um, there were field jackets from a college that had sent them to this museum back in like the 1920s. And the field jackets were full of dinosaur bones, but nobody knew what was in them. So we were opening these field jackets from the 1920s in the 1990s.
Oh,
So this was stuff
wow.
sitting down in the basement for 70 years, collecting dust. Nobody ever did anything with it. Nobody ever touched it.
So field jackets are what, those plaster covers that they put around the bones when they dig them out? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So we were opening those, but then I would go dumpster diving at the museum too, because you should see some of the stuff that was in the collections that they would just throw out. If they lost an ID tag, or if it was damaged and they got a better specimen to replace it, or if they had multiples, a lot of that stuff winds up in the dumpster.
Really?
Yeah, no
Wow.
doubt. That
Now,
pissed me off
listen.
personally.
Now listen, I can't speak for every historical society. I can't speak for every museum. That is my personal experience with that one particular museum. It really turned me off to seeing things that were donated get thrown into the dumpster. I'm sure there would have been a better use for that stuff, where they have events for kids where they come through. Give this stuff away to kids. Let the kids
Right.
get excited about a Moroccan shark tooth rather than throwing it in the dumpster.
So I guess that would be a thing to look into before you decide to donate to a museum. Go look at their dumpster, see what stuff they're throwing away.
Yeah,
I mean, you know.
like, okay, so here's a prime example. We had so my grandfather served. Both of my grandfathers served in World War II. One was 82nd Airborne, and the other one was Third Army under Patton. Now, my dad's dad was the one that was in the Third Army, and the British had liberated Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, which was rampant with typhoid. They did not have the vaccination for typhoid. We did. So my grandfather's job, I believe he was a quartermaster. Him and his commanding officer went to Bergen-Belsen to deliver typhoid vaccinations to the British that were there. And he was told to wait outside while the commanding officer actually went in. And while he was outside, he was rummaging through piles of clothes, books, and things that the Nazis had piled up that they had taken away from these people. And he had grabbed a book out of the pile, and he saved that book, and that book sat in his closet for years and years and years. And even a couple of years after he passed away, he moved my grandmother out of the house and then cleaned out the house. It just sat there up in the closet. Well, my dad pulled it out and he's looking at it, and he can't understand a word that's written in it because it's all in Hebrew. So he worked for A&P Supermarkets, and he had a rabbi that would come into the store and do the kosher blessings on stuff for Passover and things like that. So he brought it in. He asked the rabbi, he said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he said the look on the guy's face was like, he turned pale white. He was like, not mortified, but just in shock and awe to see this book. And the book it's a machzor, it's a prayer book. But what was so special about it, it was printed specifically in the Warsaw Ghetto in 1939. So this was an area of Poland that was under complete Nazi control. It survived the trip to the concentration camp. It survived the book burning, and then it made its way to America. Well, we weren't really sure what to do with it. There's only 2 copies of this book known to exist, ours and one other one, which I think is in the Smithsonian. So we decided to donate it to the Holocaust Museum down in Washington, and we had a stipulation. It goes on display, and my grandfather gets credit for it. If those 2 stipulations are not met, if I go down there and I don't see it on display, I'm taking it back. They don't get to keep it. And I'll find somewhere else to put it. But I don't know. I've never been a huge fan ever since my personal experience with that one particular place. I've just never been a fan with donating stuff to museums. I've given stuff to landowners. I've got it's their property. They're letting me hunt their property.
Right.
I mean, if you go into a project or onto a specific hunt for a historical society and they want everything that you find because they're going to put it on display, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I just want to know that the stuff is going to have good use.
Right. It's not going to be warehoused in the back room under the steps in the
Where
dirty
nobody
dungeon.
gets to see it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't want to display it, then they should say it. You know, we appreciate it, but we're not interested.
Or you can even work out a deal with them. Say, listen, I will give it to you on a temporary loan for a display, and once your display has concluded, I would like it back. So I mean, that's another route to go.
Yeah. Dirt Diggers UK says, there's a museum that wants one of my finds. My stipulation is to always display it, never draw it, of course, with my name on it. Well, I guess if they want it, then that would be something you should be able to stipulate.
Yeah, and if it isn't displayed, I'll take it back. It's a loan. It's not a gift.
But here's the thing: is like, okay, so over in the UK, they have laws with that stuff.
Right.
We don't have a set of rules, regulations, and laws here in the United States when it comes to fair valued price. You get half, and the landowner gets half, and that's my understanding of the law. So correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have that here. So actually, over in the UK, I think they're actually pretty lucky with that.
Because they can go out and find that treasure and know they're going to at least be able to keep some of it or get their fair market value for it, as opposed to, let's say, finding a big treasure here, lost, gold bars or coins.
And then you have
the government
trying to come in and take it from you.
Yeah, either taking it from you because they tell you it belongs to them, or charging you because you found it. Making you pay what it is. Not giving you an opportunity to get a fair market price for it. They just want it. So we have a lot of discussion about that on this in the show about that. About do you find a big hoard of coins?
Heck, I find nothing.
Tell somebody about it, or do you find it and keep it to yourself?
Find what?
It's a hard. I don't know. I haven't found.
Okay. Well, look at the folks that found the Saddle Ridge hoard in California a few years ago.
Right.
Look at all the hell they went through dealing with the government, trying to come in and take the coins from them, and then it's like, and then people are saying, oh, well, those coins were part of a major bank robbery.
Right.
No, it turned out to be not the fact.
Right.
Because the dates on the coins didn't jive with when the bank robbery occurred.
Right. Well, and they lost out on it because they lost money trying to keep those coins.
Yeah.
They lose. So
the thing that kills me, they had all them gold coins. That was a certain dollar worth back in the day.
I would spend every last cent I had fighting the government if they ever tried to come and take something of mine.
Yes.
Yeah, well, not me, because they're not going to know.
I wouldn't
just not going to
know.
Now. For all they know, I've already found the treasure.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell now, because really they only do the money back they're worth, which would have been maybe a dozen coins in gold for back in that day.
Right, $12.
Right. I mean, it's all right they gave some back, but they shouldn't have to give back every bit of it.
Let's be careful, guys. We're setting Drew off in an asthma attack.
Oh. So yeah, that's always a touchy subject out here because you got ethics and then you got ethics, right?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing where you go to a landowner's permission that you get, and they say, okay, you can hunt it, but I want everything that you find. Well, do you stick stuff in your pocket and don't tell them about it, or do you show them everything and let them take everything? Like, what happens if you find your very first gold coin? It really boils down to the individual. You know,
Right.
you can have those ethics and you can tout those ethics all the time, but it really comes down to the individual. I mean, if you're going to be shady about it, you're going to be shady about it. There's nothing
You're going to be shady about it, and you have to deal with whatever shade comes back at you.
Yeah.
Karma's always going to come back and bite you if you do something nasty.
Right.
And I mean, and if you have a conscience, your conscience is going to eat at you.
Right. Yep. See, now, if I ran into a situation where somebody says, yeah, you can dig in my yard, but I want everything, I go, okay, thanks. And you'll never see me there digging.
And you know what? And sometimes that is the best way to look at it, because you know what? Honestly, especially if they're an elderly person, how long are they really going to own that house? You just go back and ask permission from the next person.
Right. Well, and not only that, look, you know, it's like, that would be like going to a gold claim and asking the guy, can I dig for gold in your property? And he says, sure, but I get all the gold.
Yeah,
No,
that ain't gonna happen.
That's not going to happen, right?
At
So
least
I feel the same way about metal detecting.
At
I
least.
go to some,
Oh, I hear you, Jesse. I'm sorry.
yeah, if I go to somebody's property, they say, yeah, you can dig here, but I want everything.
Thank you. Maybe later.
I'll go somewhere else.
I always let anyone dig on my claim. I'd only have one request. It wasn't for a share. It wasn't for all the gold. I wanted to know what amount they found where, so I could grid it off. That's all I wanted, to know what they found and where. They can keep it. They can come back. I just want to know what they found and where.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you an idea of where you can work your own claim.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
And I don't have a problem with sharing with the landowner. If I go on his property and he says, you know, okay, but you know, if anything of value, we share it. No problem. You know. Will I find anything of value? Probably not.
Well, Potter.
You never know. You never know.
Potter County Diggers has a good point, though. He says, I'd still dig as long as I can video and take pictures. But the understanding of the gold coin, I've said to several owners that a gold coin is mine.
You know, I mean, hey, listen, you can work out whatever arrangement ahead of time with the property owner.
Sure.
If you want, if that's what's important to you is getting that video, then that's what's
by
important.
All means, absolutely.
But my point of view on that is, it's kind of like I got tired of working for everybody else and paying, you know, basically earning money for everybody else.
Right.
For myself. I'm not going to go to a landowner's property and do all the digging for them. But I'll tell you what, if you're that interested and you want to borrow a machine, I'll let you borrow a machine. I'll let you dig up your own stuff and keep your own stuff. I'm not doing all the work for you.
Right.
Yep. That's the way, you know. I would share. I have no problem sharing with the person, even, you know, hey.
I got no problem sharing, but I'm not doing all the work and giving you all the stuff. I would just assume rather not dig your property.
Right.
Or I would be more than happy to offer to teach you how to metal detect, so you can find your own stuff and keep your own stuff.
There you go. Now, do you do that? Give lessons on detecting?
I've absolutely done that. And you know what? I've had people go, okay, well, you know what? If you're going to let me use a machine and you're going to let me tag along, well, you can keep what you find, but I get to keep what I find. Okay, cool. That's even better than the original.
That's even
deal.
better. That's even better because I know I can find the good stuff.
Yeah.
Digging with D says, when I ask for permission, if they have stipulations, I say agree to any coin worth more than $30. We split the value.
That's
So,
listen.
yeah.
There are so many different ways of doing it. There's
We went to an extreme on that, and you know, with the person saying I want everything, that was an extreme. I'm sure that doesn't happen a lot.
no, it doesn't. No,
You know, but
I've got permissions that people want one thing. I've got permissions where people don't want anything. I've got
Right.
permissions where people are just like, I don't care what you do on my property. I don't care if you dig 80-foot craters in my ground. Have fun. You know, it's just it's a case by case basis, really.
Prospector Josh says a 12-pack of beer gets you 1 hour of treasure hunting on my land. All right, and I want to say hi to Prospector Josh. And did I see Jerry in here a minute ago? I think I did.
You know, it sounds to me like a 30-pack would be worth getting.
American Gold Prospectors.
Drink the whole thing and just pass out.
That's Brian. Hey, Brian.
He was busy talking over you for a second, Drew. What was that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'll just get him a 30-pack. I'll get him really drunk so he passes out, and then I'll just go for 8 hours, and he'll never even know.
There you go, Josh. He'll go for that.
But you're only getting, like, natty ice or something.
Swayze, if I find a homeowner sees 1700, it's an Oak Island find. Oh, brother.
Prospector Josh says a deal.
There you go.
Of course, you better take a look at his property first.
It is in the motherlode of California also, Drew.
Okay. All right. I'll be there. What kind of beer you like? I won't get you the cheap stuff either.
Hey, Patrick Moore, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Salmon King, how you doing?
Well, thanks, Potter Country County Diggers. First time here. We're glad you showed up. I'm glad you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, they're good guys, man. They don't live too far from us.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, you should come back another time. We have, some more interesting people. No, I mean, because we get.
Thanks for dropping in, Potter County.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Prospector Josh says he's classy. He drinks PBR.
Oh, my man! All right. Plenty of that where I'm here.
Now, Salmon King's a friend of mine from Washington State. I was just back home last week. I just got home. Too bad you were all the way up in Oak Harbor, and I was all the way down in the Vancouver, Portland area.
So we got some more questions here for you.
All right.
Digging with Deej wants to know if you could detect anywhere in the world with no stipulations, where would it be?
She's so nosy. Somebody's got to cut her off. She's asking too many questions.
Well, if you don't want to answer that question, I got another question here.
No, so if it was one place in the world that I could go with no stipulations, where would it be? Wow. That's tough.
That's a good question, huh?
That's a really good question. No stipulations anywhere in the world
Yeah.
for Gettysburg Battlefield.
Oh, cool.
Ooh,
Oh, heck yeah.
Only
that
25 minutes from the house. I wouldn't have to travel far.
that would be a really good choice.
Even if you had to travel 2,000 miles, I think that would still be worth it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Good night, Arthur Moorhead.
Hey, good night, Arthur.
Okay, Mr. Lodak, more interesting guests. More of them. Not more interesting, but more interesting guests. World War, that would be cool too. Digging Canucks as World War One battlefield would be cool.
Yeah.
Or even over in Germany in a World War II battlefield. Any of the battlefields would be cool.
Yeah.
The other Ed said he'd detect the U.S. gold mint.
Oh, geez.
Oh, down in Georgia
Yeah,
or Charlotte? Which one?
I'm not sure. He didn't say. And California Mother Lode Prospectors, how you doing, Jerry? He says the California Mother Lode.
Yeah, he's a gold detectorist, though.
Right.
But, you know, it's still none the same. It's still metal detecting.
Okay, Victoria has a question for you too. She wants to know. Let me go back to it because she asked it again, kind of. What method do you use to get permissions? I mean, do you just walk up to houses, or do you put flyers on people's doors, or
Yeah.
do
So pretty much what both Joss and I really like the most is we like catching people when they're outside their house. Say they're cutting the grass or they're working in the flower garden or something like that.
right? I've heard her say that.
They're not totally off guard at that point.
Right,
I don't like knocking on doors just because I don't know what they're doing inside their house. They're in their house doing something, whether they're relaxing or eating dinner or lunch or doing
fighting.
homework with the kids. Like, so
Right,
I feel like if I knock on their door, I'm intruding on them. Another thing that's worked really well for us is actually tracking the people down on Facebook and sending them a Facebook message.
hmm. That's interesting because a lot of people do social media, and I don't know why. It just seems like people seem to be more trusting and more open on social media as opposed to
Well, they
like
feel
someone
like
walking up to you.
they feel like they can see what you're all about because you've got all your personal life just totally dumped out on social media. You know, your pictures, your of your friends, your family, your job,
Right,
your work history, your relationship status. Everything about you is generally on social media for most people. Not everybody, but for most people.
right. So what do
So
you do? Find out who the landowner is, and then look for them on Facebook or
yep,
Twitter and all these other places. Just look for them by name, huh?
yep. Go on Facebook and try to send them a message. And sometimes they have mutual friends, which helps.
Oh,
Um, sometimes it works. I don't know. It's weird. I had never thought of it. Joss is the one that actually thought of it. I mean, she's definitely the brains of the operation.
um, here I got a question that especially around here. Uh, when they tear a house down, right now here in Toledo, when they tear a house down, they actually have to pull the basement out, all the brick, everything out, and
Wow.
fill it back in, right? They just don't knock it down and bury it. They actually have to pull all the concrete work, everything out of the hole, and then fill the hole in with dirt, haul everything away. In a situation like that, is it better to wait to try to metal detect that lot or try to get in there right away?
Well, number one, it depends on the size of the lot you're trying to get in. Um, I try to get in. I try to get into construction sites as soon as possible. Now there's one particular operator that we've dealt with in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Where he'll actually call us and say, "Hey, I just cut 8 foot off the top of a 25-foot privy for you with
Ooh.
the so it saves us a lot of digging." But I mean, really, like most construction sites are really tough to get into just because of all the OSHA regulations,
Right.
liability. People are worried about getting sued.
Right.
Generally, if you're on a construction site, you're either there by really good grace of God or illegally.
Yeah, I tried to get on a construction site. They were getting ready to tear out 3 city blocks of houses, big, good sized houses for part of a hospital expansion, and they had it cordoned off, fenced off, and I really wanted to get in there and try to metal detect, but I mean, even though they hadn't even started tearing the houses down yet, everything was still there, just fenced off and ready to go. They still wouldn't let me in there. They just you
they're
gotta
worried
work.
about liability and getting
Right,
sued,
right.
and getting hurt, killed,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
and you gotta remember too, like all these state laws, state by state, are different when it comes to liability. So one liability waiver may not necessarily work in every single place that you go. I mean, I've approached attorneys about permission for their properties, and sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah, have at it, no problem." But then you always get the one that's like, "No, because I think that you might get hurt and you might try to sue me." Well, you're an attorney. Write up a hold harmless agreement real quick, and I'll sign it for you. Well, that doesn't really hold up in court all the time. Listen, buddy, I don't want to sue you. I want to go find some crap in the ground. Like
Although
if I sued you because I got hurt, my dad would probably whoop my.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like seriously, come on. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
everybody's gotten. This is part of the problem. Society has gotten so sue happy that everybody is worried about what everybody else is doing.
Well, you
Right.
find
not
that
doing.
with farmers for going out kicking clods arrowhead hunting. Oh no.
yeah.
Or even some of the farmers I've had better luck to get on farmers' creeks than I have in their fields, but you know,
Yep.
yeah, it's crazy. You're right. It's like a sue happy society, and it's a few sue happy people have wrecked it for a lot of people that would take their own responsibility. No, it was, if I got hurt, it was my stupidity. I'm
Right.
not gonna
Yeah, I
sue
mean,
you over that.
listen. If I trip over a log on your land, it's not your fault that the log was laying there. It's a log.
Yeah, and it's your fault you didn't step up high enough to get
It's
over
my
it.
fault for not paying attention to where I'm
Right,
going.
Right,
right,
right.
right.
You know, I've
Um,
even seen instances of people breaking into houses to rob someone. They get hurt and they sue the homeowner and win.
Yeah,
oh, that must
that's
have been in California.
No, they're in Pennsylvania.
wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
Well, just today, my wife gave me a fish sandwich and it was hot, and I bit into it. I told her I was going to sue her. She didn't warn me my fish sandwich was going to be hot. How do I not know that?
Okay, McDonald's. I have a question from Charlie Reiser. Drew, ever researched some folklore treasure stories associated with Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I've looked at a couple different stories. I've never been adventurous enough to go. I've never really had the time to go searching for stuff like that. Most of my research is home sites in farm fields or researching a house that I've caught my eye on. I've got a couple books here One is Forgotten Towns of New Jersey, and then there's a second volume of Forgotten Towns of New Jersey that aren't there anymore. I know there's a couple towns in the one book that I've detected that aren't there anymore. One was located by Matt Tamaney, so it was that was a pretty good site. But I do have a couple. Books, and I've seen some different magazines, like detecting magazines, that have these like stories or folklores or treasure hoards or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it'd be cool to go looking for something like that, but I've just never really had the time to do it.
Yeah, Down East Detecting and Prospecting, our buddy Bob, says he uses tax maps to find cellar holes and other locations on town properties, and call town office and ask if detecting is allowed. Never been told no, and got a lifetime of spots to dig, or to swing, I should say. He don't dig, he swings. So that's cool. Tax maps, huh? I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Tax maps will help. I like using OnX Hunt. That helps figure out property owners.
Yeah, I have that app.
Gaia GPS app.
Yes.
They have a property owner portion in there.
That's a paid subscription app, though, correct?
Yes, they both are. Yes.
Right. I know that Exxon Hunt is. I have that. But
yeah, we've got that, and we've got the Gaia, but we use the Gaia more than the OnX Hunt, because the Gaia here has a 1900 topo map on it as well. So when we're looking at, like, say, the 1858 map, we can see if it's gone by 1900.
Right.
Which helps a lot. It does. It really helps a lot.
oh, I bet.
Hey, Adam. Sanborn and 1874 atlases.
Yeah, the Sanborn fire insurance maps are great if you have access to them. A lot of those are they're privately owned by a company.
Mm-hmm.
If you, like, your local library may have a subscription to get the Sanborn maps online for your area. There used to be a username and password floating around amongst the digging community, so you could actually just go on for free. But they would change the username and password every so often for the guest account, and everybody would always scramble when they changed it. So a lot of the Sanborn maps that I have for Philly, I printed them out as I needed them. So I have a lot of them printed out already, but there's so many maps. Now, like in Philly, we have another website. It's philageohistory.org, and that's got all the maps on it back into the 1700s, and it's free.
Oh, it's free. That's even better.
Yeah, I mean, here in Pennsylvania, you've got a ton of stuff. You've got historic aerials. You've got Pen Pilot. You've got the Gaia's got stuff on there. You go to New Jersey, and Rutgers has an extensive online database of maps for New Jersey, and I believe that's free to the public. So different areas, different towns, different cities, they all have stuff.
Right.
Do it the old-fashioned way.
I just found Sanborn maps on the Library of Congress website.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but it depends. They might not have the entire
collection
Sanborn maps for every city every year.
True.
Those are owned by a private company.
Any more questions out there, folks? Let's see.
Well, we're getting to about our 2-hour mark.
Yep.
Jeez, has it been that long already?
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, brother.
Or you're BSing.
Yeah, we do that quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
You know, I gotta tell you, fettuccine Alfredo just does not taste the same when it's cold.
Sorry, brother. You're a real trooper.
Laurel wants to know if you've ever hunted in Stony Point, New York.
Doesn't sound, excuse me, it doesn't sound familiar. What part of what part of New York is that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Where is that at? What part of New York, Laurel? Well, you can always Google it.
Stony
Well,
Point,
yeah.
yeah, Stony Point, New York.
Yeah. Let me do that from the phone that I'm
Here, it's amazing at the resources we have at our fingertips. Stony Point. Oh,
I
not
do have a
Stony
laptop
Point.
sitting right next to me. Let's see.
Stony Point, New York. There's one in Jersey too. It's on the Hudson River. Just above White Plains, but on the west side.
That's up there. Jeez.
Oh, I used to live in Peekskill. It's just about right across the river, but downriver a little.
Yeah, I'm looking. I see where it is on the map. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure out because I know. Let's see. I know I've been up that way. Let's see. There's White Plains.
Richard County, New York.
Well, I'm kind of looking how far north that is.
Good night, Troy. Thanks for stopping in. Hope to see you again.
Jesse's going back to New York soon.
Yeah, but he's a long ways from there. He's going to Herkimer.
He's going back to Herkimer.
Yeah, that's the south of West Point. I want to say no. I don't believe I've ever hunted that particular area. I have hunted some other stuff up in New York further north than that though. Besides Pound the Ground.
Right. Laurel says it's 200 miles from Albany, New York.
Yeah, no, that's no, not an area I've been to.
Well, that answers that question.
When I lived in Peekskill, I was right across the river, but I wasn't into prospecting or detecting at that time.
She said lots of Civil War relics.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I went out with a couple of the guys from Garrett and Tim from Diggers. What was that? Sunday? Was that Sunday? No, Monday. Monday we went out for a little bit and we were on a permission and I guess Gypsy had dug a 3-river from just like one little area on Friday when they were there. And I decided to go back over that area and work it some more. And I wound up pulling a General Service Eagle button out.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And then like not 10 minutes after that, the people came out and said, they don't want you doing this anymore. You got to go. Okay. I said, did we do something wrong? And he's like, no, they just don't want you doing this anymore. You got to go.
Huh.
Okay. Thanks. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Not much you can do, huh?
Yeah.
Luke Duke has a question for you.
And that was one of those places too. That Friday when everybody hunted there, they had to turn all their stuff in.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was a scheduled dig for those certain days and no more.
That was it.
Yeah. I got another question for you. Luke Duke Outdoors. He wants to know if you found any Native American artifacts while metal detecting.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I've got a ton of arrowheads. I used to go looking for arrowheads before I got into detecting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that my eyes are constantly looking for in the farm
Right,
field.
right. You have that trained eye.
I was at the flea market 2 weeks ago, and the flea market's like this like processed gravel lot that you're on. And I happened to look down and I saw some chunks of jasper. I pick it up, I'm looking at it, and it's got like napping marks on it. And I'm like, well, that's really odd, because the closest quarry for jasper to us is Veracruz, Pennsylvania, which is, I don't know, that's about 2 hours from Philly. So that's probably from us maybe about an hour and a half or so. But the jasper is not indigenous to the area, and I just happened to keep like looking at the ground. I picked like a second piece, a third piece, a fourth piece. Like, wow, this is really weird. Like all this jasper right here in this gravel lot. And then I happened to turn my head and I look down, and there's a quartz bird point sitting there in the gravel.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, well, that's just random. This is not where I go arrowhead hunting, but okay, I'm going to start looking now.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. Well, Luke is our resident modern napper and arrowhead hunter. A few years back, my wife and I were up in Michigan for the fall, changing the leaves and stuff, and we were on the beach looking for Petoskey stones, right?
Yeah.
One guy was telling me he doesn't hunt for them on the beach anymore. He goes to the parking lots, to the gravel where they're using gravel. He says he finds more and bigger stones there than he does on the beach.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that stuff gets moved around, and it's like they say about gold. Gold is where you find it. So are arrowheads, and no matter how they got there. I find myself looking all the time. I go to Menards. I go here. I walk across their stone, and I always looking for agates, looking for whatever,
Yep.
I have to look for arrowheads now. Dang it. So it is getting about that time, Drew.
One last question though from our friend Placer Chaser, Mr. Placer Lurker. Do you prefer a VHL or a pulse induction detector, Drew?
So most of my stuff is VLF, the Garrett stuff, and my Mind Lab is FBS. They're both different technologies. So the Mind Lab I use is a multi-frequency. It is a simultaneous multi-frequency. You'll see machines out there that'll say multiple frequencies or multi-frequency. Unless it's a Mind Lab or unless it's a V3i, it is not multi-frequency. I think the new Noct is touting multi-frequency on the package. It is not multi-frequency. It is multiple frequencies that you may switch manually between. But pulse induction is one of those things that has a very specialized use. When you're in a highly mineralized area, that's the type of machine you really want to use. So
that'd be for gold country and stuff, looking for raw gold nuggets and stuff.
Well, but if you're down in Culpeper, Virginia, where the soil is really, really mineralized and full of iron, you need the pulse induction machine to get through that stuff to actually find the relics. The VLF machines, they will get maybe 3 inches of depth, if that. It just can't punch through the iron. But I don't. I mean, I have a PI machine. I actually have 2 PI machines. I don't use them. I don't have a need for them right now. If I go down to a digging in Virginia, yeah, I'm going to take the pulse machine with me. But most of what I hunt with is either VLF or FBS.
Cool. Thank you very much, Placer. Thank you very much, Drew. I was typing something, lost my thought.
No.
You'll have that time to time.
Yeah. He got finger tied.
Well, Ron Shaw of Shaw's Prospecting was saying this is the smoothest and clearest he's ever seen it. And I was just saying I did a big update on my system quite a while ago, Ron. You should have noticed by now.
Well, I don't think I've seen him here in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, it's been a while, but no worries. I
That's
know
okay.
it's getting into the off time of season for him. He's in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, so you know when the sun's shining and it's nice out, he's out at the mine. He's
No
been
Gold
working
Idaho.
with Robert quite a bit up at his mine and doing a lot of stuff with the Hard Rock mine and up in Idaho. Drew, again, great seeing you again. I can't wait to see you in real life again. You and the rest of the family.
Well,
We gotta do something, man. You should come for a visit.
hopefully next year, if you come up to back up to Ohio for our events, I'll be able to stay for the weekend. You know, and I got to meet you for that couple of minutes that we were there.
Yeah, it was cool. I got to camp next to him when they were with Sue and Patrick for the whole weekend. It was nice. And
yeah, I missed them. They normally come to Joe's hunt every year down in Jersey, but they didn't come this year. I didn't get a chance to talk to them, so I don't know why. But I was kind of bummed out they weren't there.
They've been traveling around other places this year too.
Oh yeah,
they're busy and they've had a lot on their plate too, as of lately.
Yeah.
I whisper in Jocelyn's ear about coming on for Crazy Lamp Lady sometime. I asked her a while back, but I know she's busy and I just don't like to bug.
I know. I will absolutely bring that up with her. I'm sure we can see. Okay, so October for us was absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
November and December we're kind of leveling off and slowing down a little bit as far as traveling. But yeah, I don't.
Well, as of now, I have every Tuesday open on my calendar for January, and I have.
Although I don't know, man, I don't know because she definitely had tonight's podcast on her calendar, and totally didn't remind me before we went to
Oh, so it's her fault, huh? She must not be standing out of frame right now. Then, huh?
No, she's
I'm in
in the
my
room.
office. I'm in my office. I'm protected and like safe here. I have 4 padlocks on my door, so if I hear her coming up the steps, I can lock my door.
Of course,
she's yelled up the stairs. She goes, "You're not safe. I hear everything."
Yeah, she's downstairs watching, on YouTube, lurking. Are you there, Jocelyn? Are you watching?
Are you watching?
No, she's literally at the bottom of the stairs listening to me.
Hi, Jocelyn.
I don't know if she can hear you. Hey, say hi.
Well,
The
again,
whole crew says hi.
Yeah, the whole crew says hi.
Everybody says hi.
Thanks again, Drew. Really enjoyed having you on again. It was a pleasure last time, pleasure this time. And when you get closer to that one date for that particular time, let me know. We'll squeeze you in.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you can spring it.
If everything goes according to plan, I'll have an update for you and let you know what we're doing. And I mean, but it's still at that point where the network could turn around and say,
Oh,
you know what? These people don't work well together. We don't like it. Go
right.
find new people.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah,
I mean,
easy
fingers
come,
crossed.
easy go.
Fingers crossed, everything looks good. The producer was real happy with everything, and again, the scenario was different. It's not your standard typical pitch to a network. It was the opposite. It was go make it happen. So we'll see.
Oh, hopefully it
Well, good
goes
luck.
the
I
way
hope it works
you'd
out.
like. Yeah, definitely.
It'll definitely be interesting because that means that I will be gone for lengthy periods of time to do that filming. And I know her head is going to explode if I'm gone too long. Like, nobody's gonna be here to pack packages. I do all the shipping.
No, well.
Well, she might have to stop listing so much.
Well, hey, look, she's a woman. She can handle more.
I know.
Thank you very much, Bob Drake, Down East Detecting and
Oh, Bob.
Prospecting, for the $5 super chat, my friend. Thank you, sir. Drew, we're going to do a flash raid on my friend's channel who starts at 10. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Everybody out there, thank you very much for joining us and being part of the Flash fam. Drew's link for Naughty Dog Treasures is down below in the description. If you're not yet subscribed, do yourself a favor. Go over there, subscribe to his channel. Drew's a personal friend and a great guy.
Come on, Ed. Now you're forcing me to put out new videos.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. You haven't had one out in a little while either, have you?
I got about 3 or 4 of them, maybe more, sitting just waiting. They just need to be edited. We've been focusing so much.
The end excuse. It's an editing.
It's an editing.
We're so focused on the crazy lamp lady stuff that everything else is kind of slowed down for us. But now that we're getting some more time at home, over the winter, we're going to start getting things caught up, and I'll get those videos out.
Yeah, I say the same things to them all the time, Drew. It's an editing.
Ed, what happened to that video from 3 years ago? Oh, it's still an editing.
Every night in my motel room, in my hotel room in Portland, I did a little editing, Jesse. Well, almost.
Listen, I have the best editor in the market. She is amazing, but she's very busy.
Yeah, with her own editing. Thank you again very much, Drew. Now you could go heat up your dinner and eat a hot dinner, my friend. Thanks again. Say hi to Jocelyn and the kids again for us. Okay. And we'll have to hook up, make something happen for this coming season out there or something.
Absolutely.
And you guys are definitely
out here anytime.
You're definitely need to come back for Fossick or Gold Rush days.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. And everybody out there.
Good night. And
yeah.
Good night to everybody out there, too, because I think this is going to be a wrap. What do you say?
I think so. It's pretty much that time. Everyone follow us over. Mr. Lodak's been putting a link down in the live chat to head over to Video Call-In Show, where our friend Jim and fellow prospecting buddy is doing his live show. So join the Flash Raid. Again, all of you out there, thank you all very much. Super Chatters, thank you. Hope to see you next week. It's Open Line Tuesday, where you are our guests. So until then, you always have a flash in your pan.
And you know what he's going to say next.
That's right, because it happens. Maybe one day, too. We'll meet you on the river or in a field. You never know. Good night, y'all.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody. Night, Ed.
Good night.
Good night, Dana. Night,
Night,
you know.
I'm heading over to jail.